It's the SWP Disciple checking in. So I already made like my requisite long video that I make every so often. Maybe for my anniversary next month on February 10th, I think it is. This channel will be 16 years old, as it were. But yeah, this is just a quick check-in. You're probably wondering, like, all right, so where are you going at 8:43 on a Saturday night in the pouring rain, as my mom would say. I actually have both wipers going on my RAV4 in the front and rear, but it's actually not bad. I actually like driving in weather and precipitation. Annoying as it may be otherwise, and not as good for your car, like, you know, my quote-unquote nice car. I wouldn't drive in the snow, and this isn't snow, it's just rain, and it's not even that cold. It's 40 degrees, I will take that. And can I say mid-January now? It's the 10th, early to mid-January. It's funny because I feel like it was just New Year's and we've already blasted 10 days into the new year. So it's going to be another one of those like fast ones, I suppose. But anyway, I'm going to Mohegan Sun. So the same arena, well, the arena's there, but it's a big casino / resort. But that's where the Connecticut Sun play, you know, kind of like named after the arena, Mohegan Sun. I can remember when it was first built back in the early 90s, back when I used to live in New Britain, Connecticut. But anyway, going to my boy Kay, we'll call him, his 40th birthday party. He turned 40 like at the very end of December. I think it might even been the same day as LeBron, which, you know, he turned 41. But my boy Kay is 40, so I was like, you know, welcome to the party, pal. That's from Die Hard. Why can't I remember his name now? Obviously, he's like stricken. Bruce Willis, in my Bruce Willis voice. You know, stricken with some dementia / Alzheimer's right now, which is awful. You know, lucky for him, his I guess his wife and ex-wife are looking at him and looking after him, you know, along with his kids. But I guess prominently his wife and damn, why can't I remember anybody's name right now? She's from, you know, G.I. Jane. You know, Demi Moore. I guess she's playing a role in looking after him as well, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, welcome to the party. I told him. So now he's into, I guess 40 is kind of like official middle age, like, you know, nice square number. And yeah, I've known him basically since he was a kid, depending on how you want to, you know, we've been floating the idea now of like, well, you know, your prefrontal cortex hasn't developed until 25. That's been a big narrative lately as far as like decision making, but usually in the service of, if like, say, a woman makes a poor decision, or she's like in a relationship with a much older man or whatever, they kind of like frame her as a kid. So I can say by those parameters, I've known him since he was like 22, 23. We used to work at MetLife together, not too far from here in, was it Bloomfield, Connecticut? I hated that drive because it was like, once you get off the highway, it goes on to, what is it, 218? I forget, because I don't do the drive anymore, but it's essentially a highway, but it's just like really like a narrow 2-lane road, and there was always an overcapacity. It was always overcapacity. It was like too many cars because everyone's doing the same drive. There's like a lot of like industry and office buildings along that way, so everyone's going that way, and I was like forever running late for work. So it was like what should have been like a 28-ish minute drive would be more like 40, 45 minutes, and I was just always running late for work in the building, like for MetLife. We shared it with Cigna. It's no longer there. It got bought out by Bright House, so they're in North Carolina now. But you know, the building is still there. And it was like on a country club. So to add further torture to a job that I didn't particularly like. You know, in the spring and summertime, you get to watch people out, you know, playing golf. You know, playing 9 holes or whatever, maybe even 18, while you're like, you know, slaving away with like old people that think they own you, screaming at you about their annuity riders and stuff. It's my money. And plus that was when Obama was elected, so like I won't even fill in the blanks there. You already know all the old white folks calling in and what they were talking about, what time they were on. But it was a strange time, man. Market was down like 40%. I think at its peak it was down like 52% or something crazy like that. And we just didn't know if things were going to come back. We thought we might have been headed to the Great Depression. And then, you know, the stage was set for which turned out to be a very important president, to kind of clean things up. Of course, still, hated by the other side in a lot of ways. Important victory, was it today or yesterday, though? Well, we don't know what the Senate's going to do, but in the House voted to approve the 3-year extension of the ACA. Apparently, those thoughts and ideas of a new healthcare plan haven't really panned out so well. 10, 12 years into it. So we'll see if it sticks. The betting odds is probably 50-50 that the Senate will strike it down. So we'll see what happens and how the American public receives it. Of course, we got ICE shooting people. We got hostile takeovers of second world nations. I don't know if Venezuela's back to third world or whatever. It's the craziest thing because where does the collapse of their government and their economy begin and end? Was it because of the sanctions we placed on them? I'm sure that had a huge part to play in it. Or is it Maduro's corruptness or a amalgam of both? But anyway, Wusa, happy thoughts, right? So going to this little bar crawl or whatever for Kay, and like I said, I think it was his first job out of college. So he started not with me, but shortly after in 2008, 2009. So he would have been 22, 23, something like that. At the time, I guess if it was late 2008, he would have been 22 or 23. And we've remained, fast friends since then. And it's funny, I remember him in his swinging bachelor days, wink, wink, but not really, because what became his wife, he got married in a very cozy, justice of the peace, at a courthouse, because she's very earthy, crunchy, not really about things and stuff. And I feel like they got married, I don't know, at this point, maybe 10 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. Let's just say they were together back then, but he was still dating. But yeah, they have 2 lovely boys, and they're doing great, or whatever. So we remained good friends, and going to celebrate. It's good to see him. I only see him every once in a while, so I wanted to buy a bottle of something, but it's it's more hassle than it's worth, because then it's I'm not gonna walk around Mohegan with it, and then then it's gonna be a hassle for him, and then as we're leaving, it's a big compound or whatever. So I'll just tell him I'll get you later. Last birthday I got him something, so he knows it's not about that. It's just more about convenience. I don't want to walk around with a bottle. I'm sure he doesn't want to either. But cool cat. And you're probably wondering, all right, so what's this ramble about? So I'm officially in my weird man era, right? So he was raised in the burbs in Manchester, very white sensibilities, while still being Afrocentric in a lot of ways. He went to an HBCU or whatever, but still has his group and his tribe that he hangs out with. So it's gonna be i.e. hella white folk, which is a-okay with me. But I'm starting to get that weird vibe where I'm damn, you're always just single wherever you show up. You're just that. People start to look at me weird, wait, you have no kids, never been married, weird box, check, whatever. So what's really cracking with you? So whatever, it is what it is. I don't necessarily have much of a choice in the matter. You already know my story of the last X amount of years. But we're gonna go have a good old time. I just passed 10 years a week ago. So the 3rd, the 4th, I'm starting to lose track of which day it is. I'm sure it's in my journal somewhere, but I know one of those days was my 10-year anniversary of no alcohol. One of these days I'll is it get on the wagon or jump off the wagon? I think it's fall off the wagon, right? One of these days, but I don't think today will be the day. I get the shakes every once in a while. Just kidding. But anyway, I was tired. I feel kind of alright, even off of just, I think, less than 5 hours of sleep. I had designs on, much like Trump and his healthcare plan. I had ideas of taking a nap in between leaving the gym and hitting the road, but that didn't quite work out. But I feel alright. 5 hour energy feels like it's doing the damn thing. I'll probably crash, figuratively, not literally, hopefully, God forbid, later tonight, and maybe go to bed a little bit earlier, but we'll see. I mean, knowing me, I'll probably still be up until 3, 4 in the morning. But I feel good. Work was not bad, pretty productive. lately I've been like on a kick of like selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace. So I've made like a few $100s of late, like I don't know, like $400 or so. And I'm looking at my like my old like eyeglasses that I no longer wear, but they're still like they're good because, or they have resale value to them because they're like they're Gucci and Tom Ford. And I'm thinking of, you know, selling some, but I don't want to be like my mom. I kind of have like that addictive personality, like where once I get in a groove, I just kind of will like play it to the hill, and it's you know, it's not necessary. Even though it's like, you know, money is weird. I usually start the money off pretty hot because like I cash out my little overflow accounts. You know, tax returns coming like next month. I haven't filed yet, but like, you know, it'll be like next month because I usually file fairly early. Though this year I might invert that just to stagger it. Though usually I just kind of throw it into one of my investment accounts. You know, bonus in March. I have my latest like scheme with like, you know how I open these myriad checking accounts and get like a $200-$300 bonus. I had another one just come to me for Chime. It's like $350, so I'm like, nice. So I'll do that, like, you know, direct deposit X amount of dollars, and then you get that nice bonus. Pretty shortly thereafter, the quickest one I ever saw was like People's Bank. Like literally, I fulfilled the requirement, like the $1,500, like on Friday, and the money was in my account like that Monday or Tuesday. I was like, damn, the computers is quick. So as a result, I have like 14, 15 accounts. I literally just had to close like a Wells Fargo because I just had too many accounts, and they just changed their policy where they were charging like a monthly fee. So I was like, all right, this is like usefulness is expired. But yeah, you know, decent start to the year. Obviously the same issues pervade, but like those won't really resolve for a bit of time, so there's no need or no point in being like you know, overly like you know, worried or extra consternation until the point of impact. So obviously the theme of this year is you know, it's always the basics, like, you know, get in better shape. Not that I'm really out of shape or anything per se. Wiser, you know, better relationship with the Lord. You know, that's kind of like the general stuff that's just always there. But the big one is obviously get back into law school, and then I have a decision at the end of the year, sneakily creeping up. It's already less than 10 months away, where you know, I have like a 401k loan that falls off. That's going to add like almost $1,000 a month back into my coffers. What will I do with that? Can do a lot of damage. I really do want a car, but I'm not just gonna buy a car just to get one. But I'll definitely take ideas, right? In my open door policy, you throw it into my figurative idea box. But yeah. So, you know, good juju so far this year. You know, 10 days in, no Chinese food yet, so I haven't broken that. The Jolly Rancher one fell by the wayside. So did the Skittles, but like that was really just the first couple days. But the big one is like, you know, no Chinese in 2026, so I'd like to adhere to that. So yeah, good start to the year. I have a couple things brewing, but there's no point in really like announcing them yet. Obviously, you know, heavy heart about certain things as I'm in the still in the shadow, the long shadow of my almost fiance or whatever. But yeah, you know, I'll leave that one on the shelf. Only one little bummer. Hopefully it's nothing permanent. You know, a pretty close friend of mine, she just stopped talking to me recently for a poor reason. I don't want to lengthen this video any longer because it's already been 14 minutes of me just rambling about what amounts to mostly nothing. And who knows, maybe it'll just resolve itself on its own, but that could be a video on its own because it's about tricking and sipping, and we can have a nice discussion about that. And sometimes, you know, much like you know, Al Bundy with his No Ma'am shirt, right? Putting on your you know, no simping shirt comes with collateral damage. So I'll pose it to you, and then I guess you can tell me what you think. But yeah, you know, I miss her, and I'm just talking like as friends, you know, antecedent to anything else. But yeah, I'll hold it there. The Lord is faithful. Stay with me. God bless.